So we want to convert textures, and we do that in the texture manager. So if you don't have it, hit the plus button here, go to new pane type and go to Renderman Texture Manager. You can save it here into your setup. So my Solaris Lookdev here in Renderman 20, if I go to save current desktop, will now remember that I added it there. So first off here, I can delete this one temporarily now. I'm just going to take my active, and we want to convert these textures into TAX that works for Renderman. And that's going to be something we do with the texture manager that we just added to our user interface. Okay, so before we convert our textures, just want to drop some information here when it comes to color management. So here on my home setup, I have set up here environment variable for OCIO, and it's pointing to an ACES config that I downloaded from the Renderman repository in my case. And I also have set up some Renderman rules, and I'm gonna link to a few videos that I created dealing with this specifically, color spaces and ACES and all of that, in the video description, so you can take a look here. Okay, so here's the texture manager, and we now want to pick my directory, the one where we have all of my textures that we downloaded from a Gumroad. I'm going to use this pick directory button here. And you can see here I have essentially a default folder structure that I'm adding here my textures to. And they live here in my textures folder. I'm just going to take my snail and this active folder that we created. Going to hit select, and we're going to get all my textures here that's living inside the folder, and they're going to start to convert here. For example, the base color here is sRGB linear. My bump map here is interpreted as data. My specular here is essentially sRGB linear. That's just my roughness is data. My metallic is sRGB linear, but yeah, it's essentially just a mask. I could go in and override my texture conversion rules to set up different color spaces, and that's something I covered. But for my case here, this one will be enough. I'm mainly interested in converting this base color from sRGB linear to ACES, because that's where we will see a color shift if we don't do this. And that's something that I already handled in those episodes when it comes to setting up OCIO and all of that. Okay, so all of the textures now have already converted here, and this is essentially what we will be left with in our folder. We will have the original EXR files, and you will also have text files. The text files is what Renderman will be using to render, because Renderman needs this optimized MIP mapped format that essentially is created here by the texture manager. We can see here the base color linear will have the name sRGB lin to ACES-CG bolted onto. This one is the one that we will link to in our shaders in Renderman and Solaris. In the next episode, we're gonna create a material library and start to set up the pixel surface shader. If you wanna support my channel, consider dropping a comment in one of the videos with information of upcoming episodes you wanna see from Meshmen Studio. See you in the channel. Bye bye.